Hi and good afternoon. Happy Friday to everyone. Welcome to our second webinar. My name is Eric Francis Manu, of course, Eric Francis Manu with us. Today, we have very important topic. You've seen it. This is very dear to our hearts. When I was talking to my guest today, we spent some time and we elaborate what we can do. And with this topic, I believe that by the time we finish this webinar, you take something home. We will make this lovely, interactive, engaging. The title for today is Living in a Time of Uncertainty. How can coaching help? And today, as I said, we have special guests. But before I introduce her, I've got house shoes. As you know, I like my house shoes. Right. So if we were in a classroom, of course, I would say ladies on my right, the gents on my left, exits this way. But of course, not anymore. We are on virtual in the new world. Again, the next house rule is we have chat button to use, which you'll find it on your screen. Please engage with us. This is interactive, as I said before. Make it more attractive. Any question you have, let us know. But before I introduce Dr. Melanie, I've got a question on the chat button. The question is, can you share a small challenges or goals that you have achieved during this pandemic? So I will click the send and please let us know what challenges or goals you've achieved during this pandemic. Now, who is Dr. Melanie? She is a founder of News Diversity Leadership, associate professor, University of Derby, a Cambridge certified coach. Dr. Melanie has over 25 years experience developing people potential and enable them to become all what they want to be. She's a coach, a lecturer, a trainer. So, may I welcome Dr. Melanie? Please, you're on board.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, good morning, wherever you are. It's lovely to be here. Thank you, Eric. Delighted to be here today and to talk about this really important topic that, as you said, Eric, is so important right now and so dear to both of our hearts, something that we felt we just needed to talk about today. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the introduction. So yeah,
I tried.
a little bit more about me. You're right, really, in that I feel that my career has been all about helping people to become whatever they want to be. And that started a long time ago, helping children when I was teaching them. And then that progressed to becoming a lecturer. And then I've been a trainer. And as part of that, I've been mentoring and coaching people for quite a long time now. So everything I do is about helping people to realize their goals, whatever they are, whatever they want to be. And that's a real privilege. So again, today it's a pleasure to be here because even though we're in challenging times, we can still achieve our goals. We can still have goals.
So before we go, we've got one comment here. Hello from Cassia. Hello, Cassia. Good afternoon.
Hi, Kasia.
Yes, right. So, Doctor, we discussed before we came on live some of the topics that we want to tackle today. But before we go on to this kind of conversation, what is your overview of today's topic and how can we coaches help? Just overview before we move into.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we wanted to talk about this today because we wanted to help people to just think about how can I be proactive? How can I help myself at what seems like such a difficult and challenging time right now? And And I guess for all of us, and that includes you and me, Eric, it's been a tough time. It's been a really tough few months, and we feel that everybody, we know that every single person is feeling that right now. It's been such a tough time, and it's going to keep being a really difficult time with so much uncertainty. And that's why that's in our title today. We've got to live with uncertainty. So how do we do that? And how can coaching really help us with that? Because we're going to need tools. If this is going to be something that is ongoing for a long time, we're going to need to find ways to help ourselves, not just to put up with it and get on with it, but to really fully live our lives in an environment that we're not used to. And we've done this before as human beings, but maybe our generations haven't done this before. But we know our parents and our grandparents have. They've lived through wars, they've lived through difficult times. And maybe in some of our people tuning in are living through difficult times in the countries they're viewing from and have got experiences to share. But I think what we can do, and particularly through coaching, is engage with coaches who can help us to find out what it is that we still want to do, still want to be, despite this challenging context, and can help us to bring out the best in ourselves. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. How do we still do that? How do we still live full and vibrant and exciting lives and be the best we can, even when we've got all of this going on around us? What do you think, Eric? What's your feelings about what we're going to do today?
Good question. I'm going to read something here. And again, we can then move into some of the questions that we prepared. I'm feeling lost. I'm scared. I can't visit my relatives, my elderly parents. I have to close my business due to this pandemic. Now, you mentioned that our parents went through something similar. And again, I remember during the financial crash, I was working in banking. And of course, most of my colleagues suffered so harsh. But we're in different ball. This is human's life. This is human, which is different. And to the question is that how can coaching help? For me, I do believe it's a time that we all chip in. Doesn't matter who we are, that we are able to support our coaches. Because not only coaches, our employees, our friends, our family, our relatives. Because this is a time that nobody knows what's next. Like example, today, from tomorrow, my area moving to level 3 of the government guidelines. So with this in mind, that's a challenging time.
Yeah.
I've got now we move into the questions that we've got ourselves. So a question came out. I said, I am feeling lots of uncertainty about my job at the moment. How can coaching help? Doctor, what is your view on this?
Okay. So this is one about uncertainty about someone's job, and there's so many people feeling this at the moment, aren't there? Either people have lost their jobs, or people are feeling that I don't know if I'm going to have a job much longer. And you're right, Eric, as more and more areas move into different phases of lockdown, whether that's in the UK or whether that's elsewhere, that uncertainty is growing, isn't it? And it's really tricky dealing with that. It's a really tricky time for so many people right now. Absolutely, and we feel that. So how can coaching help somebody in that kind of context is a really good question, isn't it? So I suppose the first thing we might talk about is we might say, yes, you're feeling the uncertainty, but what you've spotted is that you're asking the question, what can coaching do for me? And
Mhm.
you're being proactive just by asking the question. So you're not someone who's just accepting that and saying, oh, my job might go and there's nothing I can do about it. You're saying, how can I find somewhere I can get help? And you've thought about coaching. You're being proactive. You're saying, I have choices, I have things I can still do. And I think that's the first stage in taking back control, to take a phrase, or taking back ownership of a
Mhm.
situation where we can feel out of control. We've got no control over whether we lose our jobs or not right now, those of us that are in employment. What we do have control over is what we do to be proactive and going forward. And that's where our coaches can be so helpful, can be absolutely brilliant with us. Working with a coach can help you to identify all sorts of things about what you can do, where you do have actions you can take, and what things you can do right now, and in the medium term and a bit longer term. I mean, what are your thoughts, Eric, on working with a coach in this time of kind of job uncertainty?
Good question. I think as a coach, I mean, my area is executive coach, C-level suits. And of course, I've seen directors, head of department losing their jobs. Now, when I come to you as a coach, what do you offer them? So I think at this time is understanding. You mentioned, what do I look for? What kind of roles will fit me on this time? And also, how do I value myself at this time? Because yes, people are losing jobs, people are losing lives, lives have been lost, family are being separated different way. As a coach, is how do I? The question is that able to understand the client need.
Yeah.
First is the needs. Now it could be different need. It could be they want to go back to work, they want to start a new business. So we could identify the roles or ways of the person's need. So I think with the question with that, I think is listening, understand the client needs. I think that is my take on that. Another one came up, resilience. As you know, resilience is a powerful word. Is a question is that I have a lot of I've lost many staff. I've lost friends. What can coaching do when it comes to my resilience? How do I maintain that level? What is your view on that, Doctor?
Mm. And it's tied in very much, isn't it, with the kind of job uncertainty element as well as other aspects of personal resilience right now. Yeah. So this idea of resilience is a word we hear a lot, I think, at the moment, resilience. And it's talked about, I think, as if it's a thing that you either have or you don't have. That person has resilience, and that person doesn't have resilience or isn't very resilient. Um, and and I think that can lead to some people feeling like, oh, that's not something I have, and oh, that person does. When actually, working with a coach can help us to understand that resilience is different for every single person, and resilience is something that we develop, and we all have different strategies for resilience. So resilience is our own little bank of strategies for coping with difficult situations. And what resilience looks like for me is probably going to look very different to what Eric's resilience looks like, because we'll respond very differently to situations which cause us stress and anxiety, and difficulties, and therefore we'll need different resilience strategies because our responses are different. So resilience is something we build, and it's a way of being in difficult situations that we can prepare for. And if we know that we can prepare for resilience, then that means every single person can develop resilience. But because we don't know that, we're often not prepared for it, are we? And so a coach can help us with becoming more resilient, whether it's in our everyday life, whether it's in our workplace, whether that's as a leader or somebody who's not a leader, it doesn't matter. Whether that's in a position of job uncertainty, and I need more resilience around feeling uncertain about my job precariousness. Whether that's in your family situation right now, there might be a lot of stress and distress around your family situation right now, because everything else might be okay, but somebody might be ill. And so again, it's the resilience of dealing with that. Resilience is personal, it's individual, but you can develop it. So for me, you can work with a coach on, how do I develop that bank of strategies that works for me to develop my own resilience. And a coach can work with you really well, because a coach will work with you on your strengths, and on your values, what's important for you. And like you were just saying, Eric, on your needs. So what do you as an individual need? What do you as an individual value? What are your individual strengths? And when you understand that, then you can develop your own strategies for resilience. But there's no such thing as this is resilience and you either have it or you don't. So absolutely, a coach is a great place to start if you want to work on having your own personal resilience. Yeah, don't know what, Eric, you've got thoughts on resilience, so I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I want to add this. It says the human spirit is remarkable resilience. Each of us has faced many disappointing, being job, career, family, list of life, but we all adapt in different way. As you said, mine could be different to Dr. Melanie. That could be different. Let me give an example. My personal story. I shared this when a few weeks ago. Those that watch me on my motivational album on Sundays, that it came to a time that myself and my whole family we have to go for food bank. And how do you stay resilient knowing that this is a guy that have earned triple income? Now he's going for food bank. So it's about how do you stay resilient? Not anybody can stay that for long. For me, I learned this from when I was young. Staying strong, mentally strong. So resilient, as you said, is different way. Everyone have a way of taking it. But for me, I always believe that if I stay focused to my values, if I touch based on a value, I can overcome or stand resilient. So it is a powerful word, and I invite people to share. Please record a comments. Any questions, let us know. The chat button is open. Any questions, we are here to answer. So let's move into you've touched base resilient, and I love that word. Now, a question came in and says, my whole life seems to be uncertain from day to day. We are moving to different lockdown restriction. How can
Mhm.
coaching help in this manner? What
Mhm.
is your view, Doctor?
Yeah, and I think lots of people will resonate with that question right now, because it can seem like the biggest question, can't it? How on earth do we cope with any sense of control over our lives, of planning in our lives, when we don't know from one day to the next what we're going to be told we can do, we can't do, and those things that we're hearing from our governments have a major impact on our lives and our livelihoods. And there's so much that is uncertain. Am I going to be well or am I going to be unwell? Is my family going to be well or unwell? Can we move around? Can we not? Can we get what we need or not? So yeah, the uncertainty right now is immense, and it's not just immense for a few people; it's immense for everybody. Um, so I guess in a sense we're united by our uncertainty, but actually that kind of multiplies then, doesn't it? And almost makes everything so uncertain that no one knows. We can almost end up in a state of complete inertia because no one feels able to do anything. Um, and yeah, I think again, this is where a coach can really help us. So a coach can help us in a way sometimes that no one else can, because a coach isn't your friend, and a coach isn't your relative who's bound up in all of those things that are going on in your life and has got all of that emotional baggage that goes with all of that. And a coach is someone who is separate to all of those things and can sit outside of all of your life events and can help you and is there just to listen to you and just to hear what it is that's going on with you, irrespective of what's going on in the rest of the world and the rest of your family and the rest of your workplace, and is just there to listen to you and what it is that's going on in your life and what you'd like to happen in your life, and to say, right, what is it that is happening, and what are the maybe very small goals that you would like to set? What would you like to achieve? Even if what you'd like to achieve is, I'd like to know that on this day of the week, I'm going to go and get the groceries for my family. It might be that in itself is enough of a goal for this week. That's the routine that I need. You know, something that gives us a sense of stability, of regularity. It might be a very tiny goal. That's a goal. And then your coach can work with you on how can you achieve that. What your coach does is they're not going to judge you. They're not going to tell you what to do. They're not going to give you suggestions. They're going to help you to come up with a way of doing whatever it is that you want to achieve in a way that works for you. And they're not going to be listening to the rest of your family or your workmates or anybody else coming up with their ideas. And so at a time when everything else can seem so uncertain, a coach can be your kind of your line of clarity through all of that, because they don't come with any of those judgments, any of that pre-knowledge of you, they're just there for you, and they're just there to help you to move forward. And so, life coaching, for example, even if you haven't got a specific goal in mind, the point is that your coach can help you to work towards the smallest of goals. And in doing that, we can feel immense satisfaction and a sense of movement and a sense of control. And that can be enough to give us back that sense of, okay, actually, there are things that I can manage in my life, even when everything outside is in turmoil. I do still have control over some things in my life. I can put some things in a sense of certainty. Yeah, I don't know what you think, Eric.
Yeah, I think I'm going to add on to this. Again, a coach is there to not to lead you, but to guide you. I was talking to a friend of mine. Actually, it's not a friend of mine. One author writing a book about challenge coaching, and he said, as a coach, it's about duty to listen to the client and providing a proactive feedback. This time that we are uncertain about a situation, where to go, life is changing day in, day out. A coach is there to give you a critical approach, a critical feedback that able to you to enable that and take it. Because as a coach, I listen to the client. Of course, that's most important, attentive listening. But also be critical of my approach of giving you a constructive feedback that you, because I'm not a friend, I'm just a client to assist you in developing your potential, helping you to unlock your what you are suffering or going through. So for me to give a feedback is giving a feedback not a friend can give to you, or a family, or a husband, or wife. So that is what coach is there for. We are here to provide a constructive feedback that we say you take it, because this will help you to move forward. Because day in, day out, life changes.
Yeah.
So this is my approach, how we could able to help clients, giving them a productive feedback, understanding what their roles, and as a coach, my role, because I'm here to support, not to be a friend.
Yes, I completely agree with you, Eric. And I think what a coach does that your friends and your family can't do is that they can ask you questions that nobody else can ask you, because we've got that distance as a coach, and that's our job. Our job is to kind of push our clients in a challenging way, but it's a challenging way which is designed to get the best out of you as a client. And we want you to achieve your potential. We want you to. So we'll ask you things that you've never thought of. We'll ask you to consider things that you probably wouldn't consider if you asked your friends and family, because you'd carry on doing things the same old way if you asked them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And let me give example. Sorry to interrupt. Let me give example. So a few months ago, I think back before during the lockdown, I was coaching a lady, and I've known her for many years, almost 19 years, as a friend. So meaning that as a coach, she can tell me everything. But during the coach, she was hiding something from me because I was more like a friend. I remind her that I'm not your friend at this stage, because I'm coaching you. And she start opening up. So you see that the analogy of as a coach comes in.
Yeah.
Yes, we are friends. I've known you for many years, But during this time, there's different aspects because I want the best from you. And this lady was going through tough time,
Mm.
but because I was able to evaluate her needs and listen to her, I was able to say, talk to me, not as a friend, as a coach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because things that she has not mentioned to her family, she's not telling me. So I was only
Mm.
the first person to know about her story or her struggle because there's a difference between being a coach and a friend.
Okay, so that's an important point, isn't it? Is that you can tell a coach things that you might not tell your family or your friends, and that in itself can be immensely helpful sometimes. Because sometimes we're keeping these things to ourselves. We, especially when they're dreams and aspirations, or they're or and they don't have to be big things, but in a time of crisis, it can sometimes feel a bit selfish that I've got things that I want to do, or things that I wish were different. And actually, we don't share them with our friends and family because they've got other stuff to worry about.
Mhm.
And actually, if we made that shopping on a Wednesday happen, it might make the rest of the week smoother for everybody else. But you haven't mentioned it to the rest of your family because you don't want to bother them with that. You can tell your coach, and your coach will help you work out, well, does that work, and how will that impact on all the other activity that has to happen in the week? And suddenly you can see if it will or won't work. So your coach is like what I would call your critical friend. They are
Good. I like that
they're
word.
they're a friend in that sense that they will help you to make really clear sense of something, and you can tell them things and try out things with them that you possibly wouldn't dream of with a friend or a relative. But their aim is to get you to identify what works best for you, and that's their job.
Agreed. Agreed. I like the phrase you said that your friend are there to see you through. Your coach is there to see you through. And I think for me as a coach, I also have a coach. That's make it different because yes, I'm a coach coaching people. I also have my coach who coach me. So he or she able to identify what are my mistakes in life.
Yeah.
And I think that is powerful because we all need someone in our life. And I think coach is there to support in different way. There's a question here that someone came up. It said, I would like to help myself physically to be as well as I can this COVID-19 environment. How could coaching help me? Let me repeat again. I would like to help myself physically to be well as this COVID time. As you know, doctor, this is a tough time. People are, I mean, during the lockdown, the first one, people were at home for many weeks.
Mm.
Mental health is one of the most talked about. It's very, very dangerous. I mean, I lost two friends of mine with the COVID-19. So physical mental health is something that when you hear, it touches you. Now, we are both coaches from, of course, good institution, Cambridge. How could we help our coaches? Because this is topic that or subject that is dear to our hearts.
Yeah, I think this is an important one, and one that isn't always thought about in relation to coaching. So we can think about coaching in the workplace mostly. Sometimes we think about life coaching, but let's talk about physical coaching first, and maybe we'll come back to the mental health aspect afterwards, because that's really important. Let's think about physical wellness first of all, and
Mhm.
how can coaching help with that? And I think it's a great question because, right now, you're right. People have been working at home for a long time potentially, um, and physical and mental well-being might not be as good because you've been cooped up at home. I know I have for 6 or 7 months now, and I'm becoming more and more aware of needing to look after both of those aspects of my
Mhm.
well-being.
Mhm.
Um, and so, physical well-being and coaching, what's that all about? Well, actually, if we're not physically well, we can't do all the rest of our lives. We can't be well in our work. We can't be well in our home lives and everything else. And being physically well, you can have a coach to help you with your physical wellness. So we have wellness coaches, really specific coaches, wellness coaches who will help you to make sure that you're as physically well as you can. And that is
Mhm.
different, I have to
Yeah.
say, from a personal trainer. So, yeah, you can have a personal trainer at the gym, but they're different. Okay. So, a wellness coach is someone who will help you, particularly to focus on your physical health and wellness. But of course, that is always a part of a holistic picture of your wellness. And I guess the way coaches always work is we always look at the full picture, don't we, Eric? We always look at, we look at your whole life. We look at what's going on at work. We look at what's going on at home. We look at how are you in your physical wellness. We look at you probably in how are you in your spiritual and your mental health wellness, because all of that always comes together. Whatever the issue is, you can't separate it from everything else. But your physical wellness is important. And I think particularly right now, a lot of people are thinking about their physical wellness. They're thinking about either if they've had COVID-19, how am I going to recover and become more well going forward? So a wellness coach can help you through that. And if you're thinking about, I want to be as well as I can because I don't want to catch COVID, or in case I do catch COVID, then again, a wellness coach can help you to work towards better physical health, and not about going to the gym, but in your general everyday life. So yeah, you can contact a wellness coach and they can help you with that. Yeah, I don't know if you've got more to say about that, Eric.
I think I do. I mean, just last week I was so anxious because I was unwell for a week, and again, the mental being of someone like going to the gym. I like exercising, weightlifting. I mean, here I am, sick for a week, and I thought, do I have a COVID-19? So straight I had to go for tests. Thank God it came negative. You see that mental strength, the physical aspect. A guy that going to the gym all the time, but other aspects no well. So you're anxious of your well-being. I think you're right. That's where the wellness coaches comes in. They take the whole package. It's not about the gym side, but the mental side, the mental health side, the physical, because it's whole well-being. I think for me, having the tests and then able to say, okay, I'm clean. But not everybody can have that, because yes, you might have a test, you might test positive, but how do you transition from that aspect to become more well person, or more, how to put it, more like you're more healthy, not on as a person, as your body, but the whole physical side. So I think coaches is there to support on that aspect, that able to take you to different level and help you mental strength. On this topic, I know that you do a lot of can you give us more of what you do? Because you do kind of yoga, or if I'm like something within mental health. Do you want to explain to us more to that aspect, Doctor?
You want me to talk about me and yoga? Well, I do like yoga, but I've done meditation for a very, very long time. So something that informs my coaching, I guess, as well as working on diversity coaching. I didn't talk about this at the beginning, did I? Thank you, Eric. As well as as being very much focused on, I want to coach people from diverse backgrounds into leadership roles in particular, and aspiring leaders, emerging leaders. So if you're from backgrounds that are not typically represented in leadership roles, I want to coach people like that to get into those leadership roles, because we need much more diversity in our leadership in every single sector. But so for me, something that informs that very much is a Buddhist practice, and a meditation practice informs my Buddhism, absolutely. And for me, meditation is very important in staying well, and that helps with physical health and mental health. Actually, a yoga practice is part of a meditation practice, and for me, that's one full package of physical and mental well-being, mental health well-being. And one of the great things about Buddhism is that it teaches you to live with uncertainty. So part of my resilience package for me comes from that spiritual framework that I get there. But that's just one approach, and everybody will have different ones. But it would be great if we could talk a little bit more about the mental health side of things.
Yes, please.
That's
So what is
really,
your view? This is a question that came up on that side.
yeah. So we've just talked a bit about being physically well, but there is a whole package, because physical health and mental well-being go hand in hand. Being physically well will help your mental health. It will. But we do need to be really conscious of the impact that this pandemic is having on people's mental health. and you can be as physically well as you like, but it's having it, because people are losing their jobs, people are feeling insecure, people are having awful things happen, people are losing people, people are getting ill. It's having a big impact. People are in kind of environments that are not conducive to good mental well-being. So how is that, I suppose, supported with coaching? And I think it's a good thing to think about, because we have to be careful with this one, don't we? We need to support mental well-being as best as we can, and I think we've talked already about a number of ways that coaching can help. So coaching can support good mental health if you are already in a place of well-being. If you are somebody who is in a place where you are thinking about goals and performance, and that's job related and things like that, we can address that with coaching. If you are somebody who is still very functional, someone who can still take responsibility for their actions, coaching can absolutely help you to be in a place of strong mental health, because it can help you to feel like you are in control, that you do have responsibility, that you can take ownership of your actions. So even though in a coaching situation, we might find, you and I, Eric, might be coaching someone, and we might find they get a bit distressed. They might get a bit upset about the situation that they're in. But if they can still take responsibility for their actions, coaching is still good for them.
Yeah, agreed.
When we get to a point though where somebody is distressed but not functioning, so can't take responsibility for their actions anymore, that's when we have to say coaching isn't right for you anymore, and where someone needs to go and get some other specialist help. They need to go and get some kind of therapeutic help, some kind of counselling, to help them, because they've got to a point where they're no longer able to kind of say, I can take action by myself. And so that's the point at which, as a coach, I think you and I would both say, we need to stop working with you right now, because you need to get some more specialist help. But if someone else is really, really able to take action, yeah, coaching's a great way to support your mental health. Absolutely. I don't know what you think about that though, Eric.
Agreed. I think again, back to a client that I coached recently. It came to a point that I felt that I cannot continue. I have to transfer her to someone specialists
Yeah.
on the aspects. So
Okay.
I think that's where coaches comes in, because you can evaluate the client's needs, the goals, the values,
Yeah.
what they want on the short and long term. At some point, you might feel that this is not, I can't take this further based on your own judgment. Because a coach, you are looking at the whole picture.
Yeah.
So again, with this client, I felt that yes, I want to continue the session for this 6 month contract, but I don't want to do that, because you need more than help than just coaches. You need someone with psychological aspects. So I can then direct you to the right person or the right individual organization. So that's where coaches comes in. We can pinpoint the needs for the clients, because this time we are in is tough time. And I think no one can solve this. Yes, of course, you can come to me for life coach, you can go doctor for personal coach, but there's aspect that is beyond us. Because we can see that it's okay. Yes, I'm talking, as example, this lady I coached during the pandemic, she was going through cancer treatment. Nobody knew it. So that's why that on this note, I need to transfer it to a GP, but I need your requests, because you need the services from the hospital. I can coach you on different aspects, mental well-being,
Yeah.
physical, but on this note, I'm the right person. Again, I can see that she needs that services. So again, that's what coaches come so we can see the needs of the client. Of course, it's about listening to their need and understanding what is required, both the short and long term goals. Again, that linked to the next question that I wanted to tackle.
So before you do that, Eric, I'm just going to remind everybody to put comments in, put questions in, because we've only got 20 minutes left. And if you want to ask us a question, ask us to talk about something, do it now.
Excellent. I can see a lot of people online, both Facebook, both YouTube, and both. So
Brilliant.
please, put your comments. Don't be afraid, don't be shy to ask questions. We are just normal human beings. So just use a button, use your keyboard, and type the questions. We are here to
Mm,
help as we want to. Now, this question is all about leadership. So we could see companies are going down. We
mm,
can see people are losing lives. The question is that I'm a leadership in my position, a director. How can I support my staff during this time? So again, this question came from a friend of mine, and she's a director for one of the companies, and she asked the same questions that Eric, I've got a team of 20. I'm struggling mentally. The team are struggling. How can you help me? So she was so eager for this program, and I think if she's online, I think she's online. So again, if you're watching, please, doctor, this is a question for you because you are, of course, professor.
okay. Well, I guess the first thing I'd say then is, but as you've said that, Eric, is that your coach won't have all the answers, but your coach is definitely the place to go to if you're in a leadership position right now and you are facing these kind of challenges, because you're a leader and everybody's looking to you to have all the answers too. And why would you have them? This is just as uncertain a time for you as it is for everybody else. You know, our leaders out there, I feel for you. You're going through such tricky times right now. You're expected to know everything, expected to be able to sort everything out, and you can't. You just can't. And you know, your teams are looking to you for the answers when there are none. So, first of all, I just want to congratulate you for holding it all together as well as you're doing, because leaders across the globe are doing a great job of just doing the best you can, doing the best you can for your teams, doing the best you can for your companies when you never know what's going to hit in the next minute, let alone tomorrow. That means you need some looking after, as well as you looking after your teams. And where are you going to get that from? You're going to get that from a coach. You know, your coach isn't going to kind of say there, but your coach is going to say, right, come on, what is it you need to work on? Because I can work on it with you. So they won't have the answers, but what they will have is that time just for you to talk through the particular challenges that you're facing and to make time for you to think it through when you don't have that time in very, very challenging, busy circumstances. So I really would urge leaders that if you can get the opportunity to work with a coach right now, actually now more than ever is when you
Mhm.
need your coaches.
Yeah.
You really need your coaches right now, because it's a very lonely place and time to be a leader right now. And I would just urge you, you know, get that backup, get that support from someone who is going to listen and who is going to make the space when you haven't got it elsewhere to think things through clearly and to ask you the questions that nobody else is going to ask you because everybody else wants you to sort everything out. Eric, anyway, this is your expertise. You say some more.
A few weeks ago, I had a call from charity company, who are downsizing their employees, moving from furlough to redundancy. And then they asked me to come in and then see how I can assist this organization. Now, first is you are dealing with directors, because my level is more executive directors,
Okay.
C-level suites. So on this note, this question that the lady asks is that how, as a director, a leadership help? So for me, is to understand the corporate goals. What is required by the corporates? Now, that's our aspect. And then what is the client, the coachee need? Because as a director, it's harsh or tough to lay people off because no one knows what happened tomorrow. So for me to go to an organization like this, a charity company like this, my goals as a coach is to identify individual aspiration, where they want to go. So example, these employees, one of them want to transition to the coach or to start a new school, or to go back to school. So as a coach is identify what is required. Of course, as I said, I'm dealing with two people here: the corporates, which is the company goals,
Yeah.
and of course the individuals need. So there's a clear guideline here, clear values or goals or purpose for me to look into. And one is to who do I certify? As a coachee, as a director, how do you stand up? How do you say to your employees, I mean, I'm laying you down. I'm letting you go after all these years. So as a coach is to be bold, but have the empathy for individual. That's a coach comes in as an empathy with the director and say, yes, yes, it's a tough call, but you have to, but in a different way. You don't want to upset or to jeopardize anyone' mental health. So the coach aspires to help the directors, the corporates to identify what they can also support the individuals. So yes, they're laying them down, they're laying them off, but supporting them on a transition from going
Mm.
back to work. So that is what my intake is on this note. Um, on that note, let's move to a question that came from someone transition from corporate world into new business. Shall I take
You're
that
gonna
one?
have to you're gonna have to answer that one, Eric. Yeah.
Right. So let me give you my background. So working in banking for many years, left into concierge industry, now to Cambridge to coaching. So transition to business or to any entrepreneurship is not easy. One is about mindset. That's his first mindset because you are moving to from a corporate goods pay to unknown. So my first is that your mindsets. Second is that where do you want to go? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 2 years? People say 5 years. Don't give yourself 5 years. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? As a personal coach, as an executive coach, or an what business? So again, as a coach, we'll guide you on to have a plan for 2 years, and then of course evaluate as we go along. What is your value? What's your goals? What's your purpose for this business? Who is your potential clients? How do you attract them? Again, the coach is there to assist, not to lead you, to help you on that basis. One thing that we all know is the imposter syndrome, which is of course is like I can't, I'm scared. Of course, when I left my corporate world into unknown, I was scared. I'm a human being, but it's again back to our first question: resilient, knowing that I'm moving from transition from a corporate to unknown, so I can do it. Only if you believe your coach. Coach is there to guide you, to help you. So again, on that questions, that's what we could do. And of course, the mind of emotion, because people, as you have a business, it's going to be your baby. I call your baby. It's going to be something that you live and breathe every day. So there's emotional touch. Going to work as a corporate, I was working in front of 6 computers. That's just for me, just normal. But here, it's a personal. So personal emotion is important. Bear that in mind, again, the coaches help to there to support you and guide you on that basis. I'm conscious of the time, so I have not hear any comments. So please, you've got 10 minutes. Don't forget your questions. Then moving to again, making yourself a priority. Next to my question is answer is that what do I want? What kind of business? What going for? Who is my clientele, my target audience? Again, you've got to put all this lay down. The coaches to work with you. Again, as a coach, it's not a short-term goals. Coach is not there to just say 2 months project is a long term. So they guide you as you go along. So again, that's my question. Anything to add, Doctor?
No, I think that's a great question though, because I'm sure there are lots of people right now, particularly, you remember we started right at the beginning with people, saying I'm feeling a lot of uncertainty about my job. And one way to move beyond that is to think about setting up my own business. So I think this is a really great question just generically for people who are thinking, right, one way I can I can solve that is by setting up my own business. So, if I can think of a business where I can recognize there's an opportunity and I can fill that, then I can do that. I think it's a really important question. So if I was someone like that, Eric, what kind of coach would I be looking for? How would I know to look for that kind of coach? Because I wouldn't have a clue where to start.
Let me touch base on the. I think transition from a corporate or any role to new unknown. I think how to choose a coach is what sort of coach one need. What's a coach goal or values? Because for me to choose a coach, of course I've got coach. My coach, our value are different. Again, it's all about what do you need from that coach. The coach is there to help you. So again, before you choose a coach on any project, transition, please just do your research. Talk to your peers, but most important, understanding what you want in the long term. There's many, as I mentioned, there's emotional aspects, the syndrome and so forth. But just work a coach will direct you onto the right path. We've got 10 minutes, Doctor. A question about human spirits. How do we stay strong this time? The reason is that because you into that spiritual, which is powerful, love the way you do. How do we stay strong this time
Okay.
of authority?
Okay. So I guess for some people, not for everyone, but for some people, that will be about really touching base with, or whatever we want to call it, with our spiritual nature. So for some people, that will be about your faith base, if you have one, and really turning to that, even if you can't go to your place of worship right now, whatever that is. It's still about making that connection at home on a regular basis if you can, whatever that is. And if not, then it's about connecting with the people in that faith community if you can, so that you keep those connections strong and you connect with the values, because that's what your faith is about, really. Your faith is about the values and principles that keep you strong. And even for those, for those people that don't have what they might call a faith, I would say that you all still have values and beliefs and principles that hold you firm every single day of your life anyway. And as a Buddhist, I know I have particular principles and values, but I guess one of the main principles of Buddhism is that life is uncertain. And so for me, going through this pandemic, yes, we're going through a pandemic, but I put that in the context of that I live every day as if it is uncertain.
Yeah.
And to what extent is today any more uncertain than the day before the pandemic was?
Yeah.
And it is and it isn't. It's
Yeah.
easy to make that sound flippant, and I don't mean to be flippant. But what I am saying, I guess, is that we can stay strong by holding firm to our values and our beliefs, whether those are faith-based or not, whether they're spiritual or not. So for some people, spirituality will work. For everybody, our values are just what we hold to anyway. So we just need to know what they are. And again, that's where a coach can really help you. It's not about faith, it's about knowing yourself, it's about knowing your values, knowing who you are, because that's what keeps you, well, as we say in Buddhism, that's what keeps you as the mountain when the storm is all around you. So,
Excellent.
so be the mountain, and the storm will pass you by. But to be the mountain, you've got to know yourself, and you've got to know your values and know what your purpose is.
Excellent.
And that's the challenge right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And again, to myself, I think I was brought up from a Christian home, so that mental resilience to stay focused to my true value principles, that no matter what goes around, I can stay strong. Like I mentioned, that we have to, at some point, went for food bank, and you think that's not possible. But it is. But you state your principle, state your value that it's a time, it's a season. It will come to pass. But how do I stay focused? How do I stay mental? How do I be strong and
Yeah.
stay focused until this goes away? So again, it's a powerful question. Again, it's part about how do you stay true to yourself.
Mm.
To yourself.
But it leads us on to, I guess, another really great question. And I know you've got a great question there, Eric, about purpose, haven't you? That I think we
Yeah,
aspire to. So I think we should finish on this one.
yeah. So the question was, what does purpose look like in this difficult time?
Mm.
Now, I always use my example, my purpose in life. Our purpose is our core value, our core. And I think as a coach is to say whatever obstacle is, nothing changes my core value or my core purpose. Because yes, the wind might blow up and down, left and right. But you stay to yourself, you can achieve life. And again, that goes back to my own story. But once you stay to yourself, stay. So I'm trying to get my word right. Try to stay to value to yourself. You can achieve anything. I think that is what I've learned over the years. That I've achieved so much, but I'm still learning because I've stayed core. I've stayed true to my core value or my purpose. Anything to add?
That's really interesting to hear you say that, Eric, because I think that's been my core value as well, is that you can achieve anything you want to if you put your mind to it and you work for it. And you know, my own story is very different from yours, but at the same time, there are many similarities in that. I grew up in a fairly poor working class family. Nobody had been to university before, and somehow here I am as associate professor, and I don't quite know how that happened, but I always knew I was going to do that, and it was what excited me and interested me. And I know that my core purpose for my entire working life has been to help other people to get an education so that they have choices too. I knew that education gave me choices, and I wanted other people to have that opportunity and have choices too. And that's been my core purpose. And I think for all of us, stay understanding that purpose is what keeps us stable. It gives us stability in these difficult times, doesn't it? So again, you can work with a coach to identify that. If you have, and this comes back to everything we've talked about in the last hour, really. How do I work with uncertainty about my job? How do I work with uncertainty about life? How do I manage my mental health? How do I support my team when I'm a leader? I'm rethinking everything about my life. How do I do that? All of those come back to our values and our core purpose. And a coach can help you to identify those things and to have space to work those out. And that can help us to stay well and to stay feeling stable and to feel as though we're not being knocked about from day to day by all of these things out there in the world that are impacting on us, because they're going to keep impacting on us.
Yeah.
And a coach can be a great way to get support so that we feel that we still have agency or ownership over our actions. The coach will help us to choose our own actions. Coach won't tell you what to do. The
No.
coach will help you to identify your own actions. And that means that, your coach is helping you to stay well, to stay mentally well, to continue to progress towards aspirations and goals, no matter how big or small. And at a time when the world seems crazy, just to help us to feel like actually I can make some sense out of what's going on right now.
So we've got a few minutes. What is your giveaway, Doctor, to our
Okay,
audience?
yeah. So to help you to do that, we thought we'd give you some giveaways today. So my giveaway is the oldest model in coaching, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Okay, it's the grow model of coaching. You can do this in your everyday life. And in a nutshell, the grow model helps us to apply this to any of our goals, and it's a really easy way to help us to move forward. So the grow model comes from Sir John Whitmore, And it's this, it's a 4-part model, and the acronym GROW stands for goal. What is my goal? So identify my goal, something really small and really specific, like I need to get the shopping done on a certain day of the week. Reality, what's the reality? The reality is I don't know which day I can do it on at the moment. It's all over the place. Okay, so work out your reality. R. O. What are my options? Okay, my options are I could do it on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So work out what my options are. Yeah, and decide on one. W. The way forward. What the way forward? The way forward is I'm going to stick to Wednesday, and then I know which day it is. There's my GROW model. My goal, my reality, what are my options, and the way forward. And if we work on that 4-part model, we can find ways to get through our challenges and achieve our goals. That's really simple, but if you apply it, you can work towards your goals really effectively. Eric, have we got time for your giveaway?
I've got a few seconds. Yes, my giveaway is a book from my dear friend, Dr. John Blaker, and in there for coaching challenging. And as executive coach, I use the FAT model. The F stands for feedback. Yes, I can be critical, but I can also have empathy. So as a coach, my role is to see your face and give you a good, productive feedback. Yes, you might not like it, but it is my responsibility to see you succeeding. Accountability. My role is to hold you accountable for your action. You might not like it, it might be harsh. Again, it's important as a coachee to follow the coach cues because hold accountable means that you are able to achieve your goals. L, courageous. What is you're courageous? How do you see life as today, as tomorrow? Again, that comes in. Tension, the tension between your family and your friends, the tension on your mental health. Again, as a coach, is to come in and help release that tension. And last, system thinking. Corporates are struggling. Different ways, different systems. Coach is there to support you, to hold your hands and make you succeed. On this note, if you have any questions, you want us to support you, we are coaches. We're just here to support. It's our duty. And I'm proud and pleased that I can have a team to this program. Last month I had Dr. Cassia, and today here we are, Dr. Melanie. So please get in touch with us if you have any needs, any requirements. Before we go offline, Doctor, how can people reach out to you?
So people can reach out to me through LinkedIn. Just look for Dr. Melanie Pope.
Excellent. That's good. So please, any questions, let us know. The chat party will be there until 3:30. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and have a blissful weekend ahead. Stay blessed. Thank you.